Well, hello and welcome to Everything You've Learned About Dating and Relationships is Wrong. I'm Jonathon Aslay. Today is episode 6, Where's This Relationship Going? Now, before I get started, I just want to share something that these are just my personal thoughts and opinions. And while I do dating and relationship coaching as a profession, this is not meant to be set in stone. This is just meant to be to give you some context, to create awareness, to get a conversation going. So, where's this relationship going stems from a couple questions I asked in my private Facebook group or my Facebook personal page. What's the purpose of dating and what's the purpose of a relationship? And it was interesting to read the comments on my Facebook page, and I'd like to share with you my thoughts and feelings around the subject. To me, the purpose of dating is to spend time to get to know someone to see if it makes sense to begin a relationship together. I know many people, see dating as a way to just have fun, have a good time, connect with people, make new friends. I prefer to have a purpose behind it. In other words, an agenda. Now, I know that goes against every dating coach's thoughts, is never have an agenda, but what's the purpose of doing something if you don't have a desired outcome, goal, whatever? And so to me, the purpose of dating, especially for those of us in midlife, because we don't have time to waste with people that are not going to maybe be in our life for a long period of time. So now, of course, I know many of you might be saying, well, you can make a new friend and you never know, it could turn into something or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, I don't need to add more friends in my life. I have a hard enough time seeing the friends that I do have. And I don't know if you're like me, but I'd like to invest my time dating someone with the potential of a relationship. So then what's the purpose of a relationship? I think the purpose of the relationship is for two people to determine if they want to seek partnership with one another. Again, many people could just say the purpose of a relationship is meant to be casual, without any expectation, without any agenda. But in my mind, what's the purpose of spending time building a relationship with someone if the ultimate goal isn't partnership? And this is where it's tricky for many of us in midlife, because most people at midlife don't know what partnership looks like when you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. And let me explain why. If you're in your 20s and 30s and you're of the baby boom, Gen X, generation, it was real simple. You were told to get a high school education and maybe get a blue collar job or maybe go to college. And if you went to college, you would, after college, you'd get a job. You would meet a girl or meet a guy, you would get married, you buy a house, you start a family. That was the blueprint. And that's fine for when you're in your 20s and 30s, but what does that blueprint look like? What does partnership look like when you're 45, 50, and 60? And here's some of the challenges, because two of the main things about partnership center around merging money together and maybe living together. And a lot of people today are like, hey, the last thing I want to do is merge my money with someone I don't know. Or a lot of people like, I like the idea of having some of my alone time, so we have two separate residences. So when you have two of the main things that have set the stage for partnership throughout history not available to you, it's kind of confusing what partnership looks like. And since my audience is predominantly women, I want to say something. Most men don't know what partnership looks like in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Just because someone who's reached an age of 55, who's been married, now divorced, may not know what a future relationship partnership would look like. And when you don't know how something looks like, how can you navigate the co-creating of a relationship? Furthermore, let me just share with you another big problem most people have at midlife is they really don't know how to get to know another human being. Most of the time, it's very surface level. But I'm talking about getting to know someone at an intimate level, a vulnerable level, an authentic level, a transparent level. And in many cases, people are dating at the surface level for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth date. It's all surface. They get intimate and they have sex together, only to find out they really don't have a lot in common. Or maybe they don't even know how to make a relationship work. Or maybe they don't have the emotional skills to make it work. Or maybe worse, they're not an emotional grown-up to make a relationship work that will lead to partnership. These are the kind of conversations I want us to start having, is the idea of what's called co-creating. It's two people knowing what they want and having conversations around it so they can decide whether or not they want to build a relationship that leads to partnership with one another. And this is why so many women come to me, because none of that is happening in the early stages. And they come to me going, where's this relationship going? Well, if you don't know what it looks like, how can you know where it's going? If you don't know what you want, how do you know where it's going? Oftentimes women come to me and say, Jonathon, I'm in a relationship with a man that's going on 9, 10 months, whatever, and I want more commitment. I'm like, great. What does that look like? Well, Jonathon, I just want more commitment from him. I'm like, great. What does that look like? Well, I just want more commitment from him. I'm like, great. What does that look like? And they can't describe it. And I'm like, well, if you can't describe it to me, how can he know what you want? And frankly, men are clueless in this. This is why I constantly say women oftentimes like men to lead the relationship process. And I'm telling you, you're giving the job to the wrong person. Men know one thing. They want sex. They want a woman. After that, they have no clue what to do next. It's really up to a woman to decide how she wants her life to look and to find a man who fits in that category, and to have clarity on what it looks like. And what I mean by what's it look like, what does it look like on a day-to-day basis? What does it look like on a week-to-week basis? How much time are you investing with one another? Are you doing shared activities, hobbies, and mutual interest? Are you spending time with family and friends? Do you create intimate time to get to know one another beyond the bedroom and be able to express your vulnerability in a safe space? These are all the things that a partnership should encompass. It encompasses teamwork. It encompasses win-win communication. It encompasses deep friendship. Again, these are my thoughts and opinions. You're welcome to kind of go at it whichever way you wish, okay? But if you want to know where a relationship is going, then have clarity on what you want it to look like for you, and then ask yourself, are you with a partner who meets that? Are you with a partner who wants that? Do they see the future through the same window you do? And it begins on the very first date. And if you don't have an awareness of what you want, you're just kind of floating in the doldrums, just hoping, well, if we love each other, we'll make it work out. You just never know. Those are the two biggest phrases I hear over and over again. You just never know. And if you love each other, it just will naturally work out. Well, let's be honest with one another. If that were true, everybody would be happy in a relationship. But they're not. So if you want to know where this relationship is going, have an idea where you want your life, your relationship to go, and then ask yourself, are you with someone who's on the same train as you? And if not, see if you can co-create that train together. And if you can't, then you make the choice. Is this who I want to spend time with, invest time with, or do I want to move on? All right, let's get some comments and some conversation going. Please post right here. For those of you that like to learn more, go to my website, jonathanaslay.com. I have a fantastic group called Midlife Love Mastery, where we explore the depths of going deeper on where this relationship is going, what's the purpose of dating, and what's the purpose of relationships, and many other things. Again, I'm Jonathon Aslay. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I want to wish you a super duper wonderful day. Oh, and lastly, as always, I'm going to give you a big, gigantic Jonathon bear hug. Thanks so much. Bye now.